welcome to another day. As you can see, the only thing we have here now is a mess left behind. So we're done with our buckets and we are back on our way downstairs. And here they be. Yes, there they are in their entirety. Solid as can be. Everything's all put back together. Paint's hard as a rock. Feels good. Nothing wrong with them anywhere. As I said. So we are done in the garage for now. Finally we got these things back together. And I guess we're going to start playing with some vinyl once again. Sad thing about all this is I only have this much of the foam for doing pleating. Just ordered another piece. Says they'll be here in a day or two. We'll find out. But that's what's next. We have to get this vinyl out and start doing a seat cover. Well, it's gonna take a money. A whole lot of spending money. Alright. I ain't gonna subject you all to that. But I did break out some savings, quote unquote. I like to roll all my coins. I just throw them in my coin holder over here when I come home because I don't like coins in my pocket as a flooring installer. Then it just became a habit. At the moment, they're doing a double duty here and they're becoming weights for my outer piece of the box here. This is the piece that goes around the backside. And as you can see, it has been stretched out all to hell. I had it sitting over here for like, I don't know, 5-6 days, whatever it took to fix the boxes, underneath some balsa, and just flattened out with some weight on it, and that's about as flat as it's going to get. This piece turned out pretty flat. It was pretty much better to go, but it also doesn't kind of conform. It just kind of sits on the inside, and the outside piece does all the stretching and conforming. And I'm a little nervous about cutting this one out, I gotta say. It's got to be shortened because as it is right now, you lay it on the back and it just fits. I mean, like I said, you saw when I took these off, it was just basically 2 fingers, and you just, once you got the staples out, you just pulled them up. So it wasn't tight. And if mine isn't tight, then it won't conform to the box like this one did. So I do have to shorten it. Now, how to shorten it is the next issue. And like I said, I've gone ahead and I've just basically, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to lay it out, you know, as flat as possible, especially the outside ring here, because that's where it meets the top of the seat down at the bottom there. And we're going to get that one as straight as possible with our weights. And I'm even going to leave the fold in, which will leave it just another 1/2 inch shorter all the way around. And I'm going to make an attempt at doing it just like so, and hopefully it all works out. In the process, after I cut this one out, I'll make a copy of it just so I can have it ready in case it does fit, but if not, we'll have to make alterations and work from there. One thing I did notice while I had these things laid out is that we have the exact same vinyl that was in the boat before. As you can see on what's almost a watermark here, CGPC, Authentic Endurotech. Authentic Endurotech. So yeah, I don't see a number on this stuff, but it's probably the same exact line they've been selling for the last 50 years. Mine just happens to be a BJ6, but I haven't seen one on that one. But it does kind of reaffirm that I am using the right vinyl. I mean, that stuff's been around. It's white. It's been around probably, like I said, I don't think these are original to the boat. They may have been what John Allmand did after the fact. I'm not really sure. But I'm sure they're at least 30-40 years old. So, and that Endurotech, not a piece of it split. It's just, it's white and I need a gray interior. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this and cross my fingers, and we'll see how it works out. So we went ahead and cut our patterns out and then traced them over on another set. So we'll have them in the future if they stay the same exact size, and if not, we'll be able to alter them from the size that we started with on these. We already got our foam glued up on the back there. The 4 lines of pleating that we're doing, we're already got them measured up supposedly for the center of the seat. We'll find out if that works out so well. If not, we're screwed. And we're way behind on making some piping here. We have to make piping for both of those bolsters over there and the center seat, and we need for these 2 seats, it goes all the way around the outside edge, and we're not even talking about the cushion yet. We haven't even got that far, but we're so far behind, and we've run out of bobbins. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to run the rest of this piping, because it's getting real close. I mean, the last piece I took off was probably within 3 feet of the end of the roll of vinyl. So it worked out perfectly. I mean, these guys here have to be like 16 feet long to make it all the way around properly. The ones around the seat, you wouldn't think, but they're almost 8 feet long. You know, so you got doing this from the beginning, just concentrating on always trying to get one long piece. If I wouldn't have been thinking about it from the get-go, I would have never got them off in one piece. But so far, fingers are crossed. I think I have all of them, and a couple of the 8 or 9 footers. I have a few of those to spare, all in a single piece each. So that works out. But now we've got to run a bunch of bobbins, and I got to do a lot more of this piping, get it done, and a lot more prep work. It really seems like everything about doing upholstery is about prep work. It's kind of like my business of flooring. You know, if you get everything perfect when you put down a sheet vinyl, it'll look perfect. But if there's in the tiniest little flaw at some time during the day, the light will shine through the back window and you will see it. So just depends on where you hide your flaws, like I was saying before. But I've got a lot of mundane BS work to do, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on that, and I'll see you in a minute. That's about as far as we're going to get this evening. We've got, I don't know, close to 70 or 80 feet. I actually ran out of cord. Had to get out some other stuff that I had out in the garage there, just regular old rope. It'll work just as good, but I'm good on making piping right now. I still have to make some more for the seats, but that should be about 5 or 6 feet a piece, which is not a big deal when you don't have to make 70 or 80 feet of this stuff. And I don't have the attachments and all that stuff for the sewing machine. It really wasn't worth buying. By the time I got into the whole the attachments and stuff, I probably should just look at a new machine. Like I said before, I paid $35 for this guy. It's paid for itself 1,000 times over. I'll just have to deal. I really am not a professional interior maker either. I'm just trying to pass something by here. We are going to, as I said, hold off on actually putting all this together until tomorrow when I'm in the right state of mind. Because, you know, you get going, and it's like, oh, I'll do the last one, do one more. And that's when you end up with mistakes. So I'm just going to hold off on that. I'm also debating, I'm going to watch a video or two over here in a minute, on exactly how to put these two things together. Because, as you can see, they're quite different shaped. And on top of that, it doesn't come out to the same size. The pink piece on top actually needs to be stretched ever so slightly as it goes around the outside of the gray piece that's on the bottom. So I'm not really sure how to go about that, because normally with a a pleated piece like this with foam on it, I would put the piping on it first, and then I would go ahead and try to put this piece to it. The problem with that is I'm not going to be able to stretch that and the piping attached to it, and that piece needs to be stretched. So I figure I'm going to have to put the piping on this piece first, maybe peel back the foam and try to put it on, stretching it all the way around, so to speak. I don't know. As I said, that's why I don't want to do it tonight, because it's already complicated, and it's probably going to be something I'll have to like stitch up a few places along the way, or staple it or something, and then put it all together and take it apart. So I'd rather be fresh doing that, and we'll get on this thing again tomorrow. See ya. Welcome to another day. We went ahead and got our piping already installed on our piece here, as you just saw through our fast forward 2,500 times. Fast forward. You can see how slow I really am if you start doing the math on this. Just moving forward, I guess, is really the only way I can put it. We got our piping on. We went ahead and we matched all our marks up, and as you can see, it looks like a wave pool. And the easiest way to make them stay in that general area is to use a regular old office stapler and staple it in place. And the first time around, I'm not even going to try to deal with the piping or anything like that, trying to make it tight or anything. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to get it stretched and stitched. Stretched and stitched. That's all I'm trying to do. And then from there, I'll be able to go ahead and get real tight up against the piping and all that good stuff. So it's just more mundane stuff, but it's tedious, I swear. I mean, it takes so much to make this stuff perfect. I mean, everything has to be perfect. And it takes so little to make it look like crap. So it's a little tedious, a little stressful. I'll get through this first one here, and it'll be a winner or a loser, and then I'll be able to work from there. But the only way it's going to get done is me getting behind the sewing machine once again. This stuff takes forever. I mean, it really does. We've gone ahead and we got everything stitched up. I've had to go around this thing, I don't know, 5 times. I got a new way of doing it now. But I guess that comes with experience, but I'll get to try it on one last one, hopefully. Then I went ahead, and as you can see, I've got all these little pieces here. That's all trimmings from the outside. Because this actual edge sits on the top like it does, I didn't want it to be overly full, so I trimmed off, well, I do anyway, with the foam, I actually trim it off right where it actually meets the piping at, or the stitch line. But when it comes to, the rest of it, I really didn't pay much attention to it. But on these, I'm going to actually trim it back to like a 1/4 inch instead of the 1/2 inch reveal that it usually has. And then, of course, I went ahead and I got out some batten and recovered the whole seats. That way, they're got some fudge factor, so to speak. Plus, they'll add a little bit of the softness to them and fill them out a little bit more. And I also had to add a gray piece of vinyl that goes across here, because it actually runs up the sides a little bit on both sides, and then the actual back cushion here actually covers over top of it. So it had to be glued in place first before even like the plastic could go on. And of course, I did put my painter's plastic on, which makes them a little bit more waterproof. The vinyl, as I said, is waterproof, but Makes it a little bit more waterproof. It also makes it real easy to put vinyl on when you're stretching it, especially when it's got a foam like that. You try to drag that over top of this batten, you'll drag all the batten right down to the bottom. You know, it's no fun. So the plastic is a must. And like I said, it's added benefit too. I mean, it's kind of, every little bit helps when you're talking about waterproofing. But that's about as far as I'm going to get tonight. I got a lot of cleaning up to do. It's already 12:45 a.m. and I'm probably not going to attempt to actually get this on today, because I already see there's a technique of actually installing these, and it includes starting out with that corner, getting it stretched all the way over, and then wrapping it around to this corner and pulling as hard as you can. And from there, you know, there's really kind of no turning back. You got to kind of do a lot of things or it'll pull itself out of shape, and it's just really hard to explain, but we'll show you tomorrow and we'll see you then. Welcome to another day. This shall be our first attempt to actually get this on. Tinker around with it last night a little bit. It's not going to be fun, I can tell you that now. Got an idea how to do it. I don't know if it's going to work out or not. And worse yet, I got to make sure it's centered too, because without that, the pleating will be screwed up, and what's the point of having the pleating? Yeah, one thing after another here. So I went ahead and I got out my steamer. It's a wallpaper steamer, but it creates steam. And it's steaming or bubbling away at the moment. Hopefully in a little bit it'll be making some steam, and I can actually put it inside of this guy, get it nice and softened up before I go ahead and try to stretch it around, because it's really just a top. I mean, I don't know. If this doesn't work out, I got a whole new theory on how to do this, but we're going to try it the way it is now, because we already have probably 2 days into this piece here, so we're going to try to see if it works. And there we go. After about an hour and a half of burns and pulling and yanking, I actually, in all honesty, had this on. Had to stop, take it back off, do some stitching around the piping. It's my Achilles heel in this whole deal. I just can't get close enough, even when I like overlap it, and I don't even know what I can do anymore about that. But it's on, and it looks pretty darn good. The steam helped out a lot. That's where I got my 3rd-degree burns at. That steam comes out of that pipe. You get in there and it's just as hot as it coming off a boiling pot of water, and it's hot. But it looks pretty darn good for a first attempt, especially. As I said, it's not perfect. I mean, the piping's a little crooked here and there, but you know, I really don't care. To be honest, it'll get better over time. And if it doesn't, then somebody will have to buy new seats. The inside looks a little rough. As I said, I had to take it back out. I am kind of debating on what to do about it. I may fold up some vinyl and reattach it all the way around. I don't know. But of course, once the seat goes in, you know, you will never see that. It's a little short though. I don't know. Maybe it isn't. But got to get some materials in first before I can continue on. I'm completely out of the pleating foam, in which case I don't even have anything. I mean, I don't even have enough to do this cushion, so I'm kind of stuck at the moment. and we'll just have to wait until it comes in before we can do anything else, which is not a big deal. We can go play with some other stuff for a little while, I'm sure. And it's on order, so it should be here like the next day or so, I hope. Fingers are crossed. You never know these days. So we'll get back to it then. Okay, with that done, we can move on to something else. Welcome to another day. We don't have foam for the pleating, so we have to do what we have to do. As I said, our philosophy is something every day. Now, it would seem like we're kind of going out of order, but it's got to be done. And one of the things that had to be done was all this piping has to go on the top here, because it's what sandwiches between the actual fiberglass and the upholstery, so there's no gaps. And if it sticks up a little proud or what have you, you can always just tap it down. And the easiest thing I found was you take a putty knife and you just wedge it between these two, give the staples a couple taps, and pull it right down. So we're not so worried about it being perfect, but it looks pretty darn good right now, so we're good to go on that. We also did our center seat. It just gets piping around the outside edge. The motor box, you know, we spent a lot of time with that. We know it actually rounds around the outside corners. That fills in any of those gaps between the actual fiberglass and that. So we should be good to go there. And as I was saying, we are out of our foam, but there's no reason why we can't start cutting the patterns out for this. So that'll be next. We also have to make some more piping, which I was saying before about it being 5-foot lengths. That's just for around the seats. We can also start getting patterns made off of these guys for seats, cushions. Yeah, there's a lot to do. There's still a lot to do. We also need to get some batten on this guy and some plastic, which takes its time by itself. So while we're on pause with making another cushion, we can finish up some of these loose ends, and that's what we're going to do. Again, something every day. Well, as you saw, we got our seat all battened up. It's not as easy as it looked, like I said. I mean, it's got this big curve it goes around. It tucks inside, it tucks around the backside. You get a lot of forgiveness with this stuff, I'm not saying that, but it doesn't just, you know, you would think just one long piece and it'd be hanging on there, but it's not. It's, as you saw, there's a lot of cuts and crap. And we just threw some painter's plastic over top of it. As I said, it's easier to get the vinyl on when its time comes. And we also got our vinyl on the front here. It's all glued down in place. So yeah, this guy's all ready for a cover. I mean, it's ready to go, which is nice. That's real nice, because our pleating foam came in today, which was a really nice feature. So we went ahead and made this, which is, I'm trying to be careful because it's like stapled together at the moment. But of course, it's our vinyl glued and already the pleating's put in it. Then it's matched up to the second piece, which is right here. And yeah, it's kind of good to go. We're got as far as having everything put together except for the two pieces put together. And as I said the last time, it's way too late to start that now and screw it up. And saying that, I guess you pretty much know where we're going. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Welcome to another day. Starting to look like an upholstery show, isn't it? Oh well, this is what happens, man. Like I said, I'm not an expert in this stuff. And look, there's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 9 pieces. Like I said, I'm not fast. Here's number 10 that I didn't get to use because I put some stitching right through the face right here. But I finally found something I think that'll actually work. And I should be able to actually take that right out of there and use that for the top. And then I could probably cut the skirting off and actually use it for the sides. So I'm going to try to use up that piece because I've looked at it for a couple 4, 5, 7, 10, 25 days here and thought to myself, there's absolutely nothing I'm going to be able to do with this thing besides folding it all up and stuffing it up on a shelf. So, and then it's no good, like I said, as I said, with the holes in it. I can't even use it what it was made for. So we're going to try to salvage some pieces, but that's down the road. Today, we have to start stitching this guy, and it will take a number of hours. As I said, what I like to do is I come over here because of all this buckling that's going on, and I'll have to move up and stitch some of this outside. Like you can see, like there's the piping right here. I'll stitch out here on the outside edge, just trying to get it stretched out to where it's supposed to be. And then I can cut some relief in the corners, which will allow it to expand a little bit. And then I can actually get tighter towards the piping itself. So the main goal is just to actually get it stitched together to where I can stretch it out in, you know, in its natural form, stitched together, and then I'll try to get it as tight as to the piping as I can. But as I said, I got a lot of stitching to do, and it's gonna take forever. Fucking Blue Jays are going off. Look at this for a second, gather my thoughts, and then come up with something intelligent to say. Oh geez, scratch that. Yeah, and that's when you end up with, let's give the yeah. And that's when you end up, 1, 2, 3, underneath of some, Christ, balsa. Oh, we're still recording. We're still on. Oh, damn. Erase everything. Burn it all. Then, of course, I went ahead and fed. Yeah. Well, here we are looking at some more vinyl. Well, let's look at my realistic STA 64B receiver. Yeah, that's a beauty, isn't it? Alright, back to the vinyl. because I'm completely out of the, my God, it just did this. Let's do it a little quicker. Got it plasticed, covered in plastic. Let's do that. Yeah, this is crap. This is crap. When its time comes, let's reshoot this. Right now, it's, you know, it's kind of a crapshoot just going for it. I mean, I'll try to get it, you know, I'm not going to be on the outside edge, but definitely going to try to. This part doesn't work.